When I got cancer a couple years ago, it made me start to think I want to stop the destruction that these cells are causing in my body. In my past, I had the opportunity to provide services to persons who were the most severely physically involved. Persons like Stephen Hawking, children and adults who typically couldn't speak, who typically were in wheelchairs, who had all kind of mobility issues. And so I spent my career looking at why healthcare practices were serving or failing them, why they were working in education, educational systems, and I focused on the different cultures that make people choose services. So when I got the diagnosis of cancer, I continued that theme to see, you know, people in the United States aren't the only ones who get cancer. People get cancer all over the world. So I was very interested in learning about practices, cultural practices, people's stories, the human condition for people that were getting cancer everywhere. So that's going to kind of be the focus of my talk with you today. Um, we're physical, we're emotional, we have an intellectual piece, we have a spiritual piece, and there's a social aspect to everything that we do. And the people's personal stories and that social aspect is what really was of interest to me and what I want to share with you, and why I think I'm still thriving today and I'm doing well, even though I had kind of a tough blow a couple years ago when I went in for my routine screenings and found out that I had breast cancer, peritoneal cancer, ovarian cancer, a spot in my lung, and so forth. So I want to talk about how I've survived. And I want to point out that I think survival mostly depends on you. It depends on who you are as a person. It depends on how you make decisions. So some of my learning goals in speaking with you today is your survival depends on you. I'm going to talk about choices I've made, decisions I've made, which I think is contributing to me in being still pretty good shape. I want to talk about how you see yourself and then how you see yourself and how that causes you to act when you look at others, especially when you go into the medical system. How you engage with doctors, how you accept or receive their recommendations. But you versus others is something I want to spend some time, and I'm going to share some personal experiences I've had. Um, then I want to talk about risk and rewards when you make decisions. When you, as I did, decide to stop chemotherapy, there's a risk to that. It's kind of scary. People around you will say, well, do you know what you're doing? Are you sure? But when you're in the medical system proper, nobody talks to you. It's said, what's your diet? What have you been eating? Um, do you feel like you have a good relationship with God? Uh, they just talk about pills, perhaps your weight, um, how you feel. That's about it. So I want to talk about the risk versus the rewards when you go to alternative kinds of therapy, which I put the Grow Network in. Um, Different foods, different essential oils, different herbs, different spices, different when you make your own homemade salve and lotions and so forth. And I'll talk about risk rewards with that. Then I want to talk about your prescriptions. Um, I think that, typically in traditional medicine, you're given pills, you're recommended for chemotherapy, you're recommended for radiation. But again, they never talk to you about organic foods. They never talk to you about essential oils. They never talk to you about meditation. They never talk that no one's even asked me how much I exercise or if I get to work out. So I want to talk about a prescription list. Um, Specifically, I want to talk about what I do on a daily basis, what's on my prescription, including all my vitamins, minerals, food choices, in addition to the standard prescriptions that I was on and was recommended to take. And then finally, I want to talk with you about your life. And it's been an amazing, amazing journey that I've had since I um, got the cancer diagnosis. Perhaps I was fortunate that I worked with persons that had such severe physical and mental challenges, intellectual issues, that the cancer cells, although they were in me, um, it didn't seem as bad as the persons that I'd spent my career dealing with in terms of their mobility issues, self-care, all the durable medical equipment that they had to have daily, and so forth. But I want to talk about continued life. Is your continued life based on magic? Is it based on spiritual issues? Is it based on religion? Is it based on the divine? Or is it part of your, or is it the deliberate actions that you take in order to thrive, in order to live? And I'm going to argue during my time with you that you have to be the chair of your committee. You have to be the captain of your boat. You have to be the captain of your team in order to live.